So, Todd, Vaughn is obviously talking to folks who are showing up to the Trump rally. That's a specific set of folks who are clearly in support of the president. Is that the sentiment that's felt broadly still across Michigan? He did win that state. Is there still a feeling like we're going to wait and see, we're going to hope for the best?
Well, he won the state, but at no point when he was campaigning in Michigan did he say the stock market's going to get tanked and prices are going to go up. I mean, he was talking about prices coming down on day one. There is very much a mixed feeling, and this whole issue has been politicized to a point that's not terribly surprising the direction the country's gone in, and Michigan's just a microcosm of that. If you're a Republican and you're a supporter of President Trump, even if you have some doubts about where prices might go, you're generally supportive. We've found when we've talked to voters, we've talked to more than 100 for a story that's coming out tomorrow, we found that, their people are still supportive. They very much are buying into the idea that tariffs are needed to bring manufacturing back to a state like Michigan. Democrats, meanwhile, who historically have been more supportive of tariffs, are saying, we like tariffs, but the way the president's going about it is not the right way. It's going to essentially be a tax on everybody, and it's going to drive costs up. And we would like to see a much more targeted way of going about this, and we're not seeing it. We're scared. So we're seeing both those sides, and frankly, more and more people who are concerned about it than not.
Yeah, I mean, that is a good point. Vaughn is talking about, obviously, Donald Trump running on tariffs, but he was not running on the stock market tanking. He was certainly not running, as you said, on costs going up. He promised to bring costs down on day one. That has not happened, even though the White House is trying to claim it has. I'm going to play a little bit from Scott Bessent talking about the concerns that economists have about a future of empty shelves, certainly a future, or specifically a future of empty shelves that could hit us over the summer.
Are you worried about empty shelves? Because they say that a lot of these, the supply lines and the cargo ships are being held up. A lot of people are saying, turn it around. With the tariffs this high, I don't want the product. Are you worried about empty shelves?
Not at present. We have some great retailers. I assume they pre-ordered. I think we'll see some elasticities. I think we'll see replacements. And then we will see how quickly the Chinese want to de-escalate.
Justin, I'm going to throw that one to you. What do you think of that?
If I hurt the American consumer enough, we'll see how quickly the Chinese want to de-escalate. Well, I'm not sure which side's meant to be looking out for us right now, Katie. The thing, he might be right. Bessent might be right to say that shelves aren't going to be empty. But the reason that would be is if we have less stuff coming into the country and we're not making more stuff, the only way that the shelves don't empty is if the prices go up. So I think at this point, any economist is forecasting either the shelves empty or the prices go up a lot. I'm actually in camp prices go up, but these are two pretty terrible flavours. We're
seeing not a reversal, but a softening of the tariffs. And I'll just read how NBC News is describing what could be in this executive order. Again, it hasn't been signed, so who knows what it's going to end up looking like. But here's what we know right now. Automakers will be reimbursed for the cost of some of the tariffs on imported parts up to 3.75% of the value of a new car in the first year. But the measure will be phased out over 2 years. The 25% tariff on automobiles and car parts won't change. I mean, Justin, you're in Michigan as well. What is this going to mean for the Michigan economy, for jobs in Michigan, for those union workers? Is it going to be a temporary fix that ends up lasting? I mean, just translate that into human terms, if you can.
Yeah. First of all, I just want to compliment the administration. For the first time ever, you'll notice that they're talking about phasing something in over time, which, given that it takes a huge amount of time to set up new factories and turn around your business and so on, is what they should have been doing from the start. Now, they're doing it for the auto sector, which comprises 0.63% of employment, which means that 99.4% of us aren't getting any help here whatsoever. And I think that's really the problem with tariffs as an instrument. The big back down here, and it's really important to three big auto companies, matters quite a lot for three big auto companies, but realise they're a small share of the economy. And the folks who aren't getting this sort of help are the folks who are not from highly politically organised, lobbyist-rich companies in swing states. And to give you a very strong sense of that, there's not a small business alive that's calling the White House and asking for carve-outs. So this is going to be cheaper steel for the auto manufacturers, but not for anyone else in the economy.
Vaughn, as you are at that rally, what do you expect from this administration? Because this is something of a softening, it's something of a reversal, but it's phasing in and out, as Justin was just mentioning. This is an acknowledgement that there's an industry that's going to be hurt. Do we expect to see more versions of this as time goes on and as the economy doesn't respond well to the continued tariff war that's not just, by the way, China, but happening across the globe?
Right. I think what is notable about the softening of approach is that, by and large, we have talked about a candidate, a president, a businessman who so often hails himself as somebody who plays tough, plays hardball. He's not going to back down. He's not going to be the one to pick up the phone and call President Xi. And yet, what is notable about the softening tariffs or the reversal or the 90-day pause is the fact that the president has shown a willingness to react to a downward slide of the markets, increases in prices, consternation that is reflected in polling here. And by and large, when you compare his actions in this first administration, he was much more emboldened than he was even during his first admin. Because if you look at the first administration, we were using terms like striking to describe his increase on tariffs on Chinese goods from 10% to 20% during the first trade war. This go around 145% tariff blows that out of the waters here. And so there was an emboldened President Trump, yet one who clearly was unwilling to face the headwinds that came in such swiftness. There was supposed to be an effective homecoming with majorities in the House and the Senate, and this has been anything but a homecoming, and one that he had to turn the tide here rather quickly. And so some acknowledgement that he was willing to change policy here, though albeit small steps here towards changing policy.
Let's also bring in NBC News senior business correspondent Christine Romans, who's just joined us. Christine, I want to show you. I want to talk to you about the cost of cars, because we've been talking for a while that it could go up $8,000, $9,000, $10,000, $12,000 for a car. I'm going to put up the a graphic talking about the impact of President Trump's 25% tariffs on imported vehicles. You can see the numbers when it comes up on the screen. This rollback that Vaughn and I have just been talking about, is that going to make it cheaper to buy a car again, or how's it going to affect the price?
No, I mean, maybe it'll take a little froth off the top of how much more they're going to cost. But for many of these American automakers, they had been really lobbying hard because they have U.S. operations, they invest in the U.S., they have thousands and thousands of U.S. workers, and they didn't understand why they were not being treated like American companies and given a break, essentially, for, these foreign auto parts that they use to be competitive with the rest of the world. So this is something they've been lobbying for. But this is sort of like now, instead of being, cut off at both knees, they're cut off at one knee, essentially, is how you kind of look at that. And I think prices are going to rise in the auto industry. But look, this is about prices rising. It's also about potential shortages in other parts of the economy. And it's about job losses. I mean, a big West Coast port union was basically saying, look, you're going to see a lot of job cuts soon, because the people who are moving the goods that are not coming anymore, they're not going to have the hours, they're not going to have so many jobs to support it.
The Port of L.A. already experiencing that?
Exactly. And when you look at just the tsunami of orders that came in to get ready for Trump's tariffs, and now they've just fallen off a cliff, it's disruptive. I've just counted the sixth American bank, or sixth big Wall Street bank in the past 6 hours, has come out and said that when we see a GDP number tomorrow, the first read of first quarter economic growth, it could be negative.
Oof. Yeah. All right. On that note, I want to give this to you, Justin. I'm going to put up just a chart showing how past presidents have performed in their first 100 days, according to the stock market, the S&P 500 for the first 100 days. Joe Biden is at the top of this list. 8.5%. That's how well he did with the S&P 500 in his first 100 days. Look at Donald Trump, 2024 down there, negative 7.8%. He is ahead of only Richard Nixon and Gerald Ford. How do I read that? How do you read that?
Yeah, let me put that in more directly human terms. So stocks have fallen 8% under Trump since Inauguration Day. The market cap of the S&P 500 is $52 trillion. Multiply one by the other, you get $4 trillion, divide by the number of households, and now it's going to get human. That's $33,000 per American household.
Wow. So
the cost to your 401k, to the average viewer out there, is one car. He's cost you one car in 100 days. good luck for the next 3.5 years, I reckon.